certain with the last 10 years of efforts which has given us the opportunity to set this kind of target in 2047. But what happens in the next 25 years, as our Prime Minister is calling this Amit Kaal, is going to be one of the important periods in the history of our nation. And the next 25 years is the period of young population of India. And this young population will also witness and grow along with the growth of the nation. And that growth is going to be one of the biggest time periods for the nation. And it is needless to say that the role of higher education is paramount. And the higher education is going to drive both the economic development and the social development. When you talk about higher education as such, for decades together, we have been focusing on certain aspects of higher education. And in a way, it has helped to an extent, but it has not helped us to transform the nation. Therefore, the focus is shifting to, for example, from knowledge to skills, from knowledge development to life development, and so on. These young population, which is getting into higher education and eventually into jobs, we are now looking at creating employable graduates. Be it at engineering or arts, commerce, or whichever discipline they study, we need to make them employable. Or we need to make people who can create jobs. We need to create entrepreneurs. On top of it, and they need to lead a happy and productive life. I mean, given the the nature of change that is happening in our societies today, and it's very important for us to look at how they lead a productive and happy life. These are all some of the expectations that are coming up in front of us. But it is very important that we focus on quality of higher education, and that quality of higher education simply means that in whatever we do, be it design of curriculum, delivery, assessment, the extended curricular activities that the students engage, and the activities that they take up with the communities, and all these together, we need to look at how these activities, the processes and the resources that we put in are leading to better outcomes. So that is where our focus is getting shifted. So Dr. Radhakrishnan committee, very clearly articulates the need for such a kind of transformation in improving the quality of higher education through accreditation and ranking. More specifically, if you look at the accreditation itself, there are two major things. One is what we call as binary accreditation. We will later explain what it is, and also placing the institutes at levels 1 to 5. And we take this opportunity to tell you that NAAC has been there for 30 years, and we are going to celebrate our 30th Foundation Day in the upcoming September. And NAAC has gone through several changes, several methodologies, SOPs, and so on. We have changed, but this current change is going to be historical for not only NAAC, for all of us who are involved in the higher education. So just to recap the key recommendations of Dr. Radhakrishnan committee, the first one obviously is the binary accreditation, where there will be no grades. It will only be accredited or not accredited. And those institutions which are very close to the threshold levels will be called awaited accreditation, or we are also thinking of what is called provisional accreditation, or by any other name. The other one is, once they are accredited under binary, and we need to look at how our institutions are able to reach global levels. And all of us know in the higher education system today, if you take top 100, 200 institutions in the world, there are very few institutions from India are able to figure. But when we become the third largest economies of the world, then obviously our institutions should also be, if you take 100 institutions, 30 institutions should be from India at a global level. Now, these maturity-based graded levels actually guides and enables the institutions to grow in the maturity model and be able to place themselves as a global institutions of global excellence for multidisciplinary education research in the time to come. And all of us know data is very important for accreditation or for approvals and other activities. So the biggest challenge is in terms of how we collect data from the institutions and process and use it for further. And all of us are aware that the institutions today, particularly the smaller institutions, are facing a major challenge in terms of not very comfortable in terms of submitting the data. They need to submit data to ASHE, then UGC, AICTE, NAAC, NBA, and so on. Now, this One Nation, One Data platform helps these institutions to submit the data only once in a year and only to one platform, one agency. By this way, both the institutions are helped and the agencies are also helped in the process. And we will have two stages of data validation and verification, and this will be done through peers. And also an important change that we are bringing in is what is called stakeholder crowdsourcing, through which the data will be the data submitted should be will be validated through the concerned stakeholders who are associated with the institution. And the other recommendations are enable choice-based ranking and more weightage for process and outcome impact dimension, less on input, and considering the heterogeneity of HAI for defining metrics. We have large variability in our institutions, be it colleges and universities. How do we accommodate this variability while we define the metrics? Including all HAIs and all programs under accreditation, as you are aware, including the centrally funded institutions, IITs, NITs, everybody eventually will be brought under accreditation through a single platform. And handhold and mentor institutions, that is very important. There are institutions located in rural and remote areas, and they have very access to certain facilities, infrastructure. People are limited. Therefore, we want to help them with special attention. Of course, developing a unified elicitation tool for data collection and validation. The very important thing is we are moving from control to trust approach, wherein we will trust the institutions on the data submitted, but there will be definitely a penalty for wrong submissions and fudging of data and so on. Another couple of things are about amalgamating program and institutional accreditation, build a robust outreach mechanism as we launch this binary accreditation and the levels. The executive committee of NAAC has taken 2-3 major decisions. One is that we will implement binary accreditation before end of May 2024. And thereafter, we will progress on maturity-based graded levels and implement it before December 2024. There are only 2 manuals that we are looking at, one university manual, one college manual. And my colleagues will later explain to you how we manage with a single manual, one manual for university and one manual for college. And very importantly, for binary accreditation, there are no peer team visits, unlike the present system, only online visits in exceptional cases. So there are other aspects of binary accreditation which we will discuss over the next 30 minutes or so. The key objectives, obviously, today is to look at accrediting large number of HAs through a light but tight methodology. As we all are aware that about 45,000 colleges, and we have accredited 10,000 colleges as of today, so 35,000 colleges have to be accredited in the near future. Therefore, the current binary accreditation by in itself talks about a light but tight methodology, light in terms of processes, tight in terms of measurement. Okay, so therefore, the institutions have an advantage of going through a very light process, and equally they are responsible for providing the right data. So the other change is objective is also to focus on outcomes, as I explained earlier, with less on inputs. Completely technology-driven system with no or minimum manual involvement. So end-to-end, it will be completely managed through a technology platform, as there are no peer team visits. There are only review reports at the end of the process. A report will be presented to the institution if they are accredited or not accredited. If they are accredited, what are the areas they have been doing good? What are the areas they need immediate attention? What are the areas where they need to look at long term? All that are going to be done through an automated system. And the very approach of trusting institutions is also a change. That is also an objective now. And as explained earlier, robust outreach mechanism, 35,000 colleges have to come into the accreditation fold. Therefore, we will be reaching out to the institutions, in terms of communicating to them about the process and help them to get onboarded. And other thing, as I explained, is helping, mentoring those institutions far below the standards of accreditation, which are, some of them are primarily located in rural and areas and remote locations such as Northeast and so on. And the present methodology, the high-level structure of binary accreditation for university and colleges are primarily driven by the recommendation of Dr. Radhakrishnan committee, which highlights about 10 attributes. And by and large, we are following the same, but we have tweaked a little bit here and there too, as part of the implementation and part of effective measurements. So the first 4 metrics, which are in green color, are related to the input related metrics: curriculum design, faculty resources, infrastructure, financial resources, and management. And the next cream color, where learning and teaching, extended curricular engagements, which are traditionally called co-curricular and extracurricular activities. As NEP 2020 says that there is no difference between curricular and co-curricular extracurricular activities, we have coined a term called extended curricular engagements, which otherwise represents the co-curricular extracurricular activities. And governance and administration, these 3 relate to process aspects of the quality measurement. The next 3, student outcomes, research and innovation outcomes, and sustainability outcomes, including green initiatives, together forms part of the outcome related metrics. And the other thing that we are trying to do to accommodate the variability of the institutions is, one is, if you look at the institution in a spectrum, there are institutions located in rural areas, remote locations, institutions located in aspirational districts of the country, where they inherently face challenge in many aspects, and we want to consider their current status and help them to an extent. On the other hand, there are institutions located in other parts of the country, wherein they are able to do, not only do well, but they are able to create unique outcomes, be it at placements, or be it at engaging with community, or able to attract highly qualified faculty members, or be able to do extremely well in research, or able to create international rankings and national rankings. These are all institutions at the other end of the spectrum. Therefore, we want to capture both the ends, both the institutions located in the left end of the spectrum and the other right end of the spectrum. We have designed a set of metrics called uniqueness and situatedness. These metrics will broadly lie under the process and outcome metrics. To conclude, if you have, let us say, 1,000 points, total points, predominantly the outcome and process metrics will be more than about 700 weightage will go for the process and outcome, and close to 250 to 300 will only go to input, as recommended by Dr. Radhakrishnan committee. The other question some of you will have is, when you say one university manual, one college manual, how will you accommodate different disciplines? Today, you have disciplines such as law, medicine, management, architecture, and those are the disciplines that we are looking at it. Today morning, we had somebody talking about maritime university, somebody talking about yoga universities, skills universities. And we are now coming out with a methodology in which we will be able to allow you to still have variability in the metrics or the items that we use to measure those metrics. You will have flexibility so that your discipline specific aspects are properly captured. So with these few words, I once again warmly welcome you to this meeting. And I'm sure that we all collectively will be able to make this meeting useful, and that will help us to develop a good manual for binary accreditation. With these few words, I invite Dr. Devendra Kaude to present on the university manual. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. You can now share your presentation, Dr. Kaude.
Yeah, sure. And my PPT, is it full screen visible?
Yes, sir.
But your PPT is
Yes,
full
sir.
screen.
You are
Yes,
well
available.
set. You are well set. You can start. You are well set.
Pardon? Hello?
Yeah, you are well set now.
Fine, no? Yeah.
Nowadays, sir, okay.
Yeah, okay. So, namaste to everybody. Security, get this full screen on. As though you have namaste, all stakeholders from Western region. Again, welcome from my side also. Respected director, our very humble and very hardworking director. Then my Western region colleague Prashant sir, Manjunath Rao Sahab, V. Prasad ji, and my senior colleague Pratil Sahab, Sujata Madam, Podmuraj ji, Shyam Sundar Sahab, and other good colleagues, and respected participant. As though what you have heard from our director Sahab is something what I remember immediately, that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. He has very nicely given his introductory remark by stating what is necessary point of view for what this revamping is being happening. That is why and how to look the revamping process. That is so what I shared that quote, that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now moving ahead with this university manual. See, we have very, very beautiful metrics with us. I am intentionally using this word beautiful because the way it is articulated by our team, specifically our directors on the basis of the Radhakrishnan committee and our Patil Sahab and Sujata Madam is really appreciable. See, starting from, see, for example, in input based metric, it is curriculum design. Input one is curriculum design. This is first attribute which has been taken care. As though our director has already indicated that overall manual will be divided into input, process, and outcome based with almost around 68 plus 1 metrics. And this among that, process and outcome has a major stake. So this curriculum design, what are the things included in it? It has overall 8 metrics, as you can see in front of your screen. And it indicates, for example, outcome based curriculum. Outcome is focused on our overall manual in various attributes. You will find it is focused. So here also it is. So here we talk about in first metric, outcome curriculum is must as it is the need of the hour. That you can see program outcome, program specific outcome, course outcome. Then in second, stakeholder participation, it states that while designing the curriculum, whether the institution has taken the stakeholders participation for that particular curriculum, whether they have taken up, what are the stakeholders? Stakeholders can be teachers, employers, alumni, entrepreneurs. So whether their participation is there while framing the curriculum. Then curriculum flexibility, it is reflected through incorporation of components such as ABC, Academic Bank of Credit, then elective optional dual degree education in mother tongue, what NEP also talks about. So that is the focus area where it has to be taken care. Then practical industry focus. See, purpose for this metric is practical exposure. That is how many courses have emphasis on field projects, research projects, internship, field work, etc. Then the another 1.5 metric is practical skill orientation. Here we talk about whether skill orientation courses are aligned with NSQL, that is National Skill Qualification Framework, and in school skill focus. Our Prime Minister also bets like anything for Skill India. He talks about skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. So here also we are focusing on that part, and so we have come out with this metric. Then other question is that online and blended learning, whether the institution is going with that aspect, for example, SWAMs and others which are created in the curriculum, that whether the institution, that university is going ahead with that or not. Then curriculum revision, how frequently, the frequency of curriculum revision as per time and need, how frequently the institution revises the courses. And the last one for this attribute is Indian knowledge system. You might have heard many of the times this terminology. But for your information, and everybody will agree with this, that our country is blessed with deep spiritual heritage and wisdom. So this metric is related with the promotion of IKS, that is Indian knowledge system, through integration of its components and curriculum. Then the second attribute is related to the faculty resources. Now the purpose, I will tell you the purpose. As an input of an institution, the faculty plays a very important role. Thus, we have included as one of the attributes as faculty resources. And so you will find here the 6 metrics are there for this attribute. First is recruitment, and what are the things included in it? As though you can see in your screen also that whether the recruitment is happening as per ordinance of the central, state, and other universities. Then whether the selection committee is constituted as per UGC regulation 2018 or likewise, or roster was followed for selection of teachers, selection process of faculty is transparent, open. Likewise, several contents are there in this particular metric. Then in respect of pay and allowances. Now this is important. Why? Because we came to know, or we were receiving a feedback from many institutions that some few institutions are not paying the say pays and allowance as per UGC and AICTE norms. Thus, this metric we have introduced for the benefit of the stakeholders or the benefit of the faculties. We can consider it like that. Then faculty diversity, whether there is a gender and geographical diversity of the teachers is essential. So it is the ratio, that is faculty diversity, is that that metric is related, that ratio of teachers with the genders and as per the geographical diversity. Then faculty development. For the continuous upgradation of faculty, its development is essential. Thus, how much percentage of them who attended training programs or have done industrial training fellowship, that is asked in this, that is the purpose of coming out with this metric. Then faculty retention. Up here the purpose is, means retention rate should not be much. This metric is to check whether the institution has a cozy workable environment for retention to its faculty. Means how many percent of faculty work in the institution continuously for the last 3 years, like that. Then of course this is a very simple one. It is related with the earlier our metrics also, that is faculty student ratio. It's about student teacher ratio. This is all about attribute number 2, that is faculty resources. Then the third one is infrastructure. It is here you will find 6 basic metrics are there, and almost every good institution has a good infrastructure, specifically the university and all that. So this is to check whether the institution has adequate infrastructure and physical facilities, like what we have, what is being mentioned in metric number 1 itself, that is classrooms, whether they have classroom, seminar hall, laboratories, computer lab, canteens, sports facilities, transportation facilities, etc. So several are there. Similarly, in the metric number 2, that is learning resources. This is how much amount being spent on purchase of books and journals, e-books, subscriptions, and digital resources, etc. by the institution. Means whether they are contributing enough for the learning resources of the students, that is taken care by the institution. The IT infrastructure, yes, this is revolutionary. Very simple thing. I think everybody will agree or understand that this teaching learning process during and after COVID has really revolutionized. So its infrastructure has to be updated. This IT infrastructure has to be continuously updated. So we have kept this metric that whether they have high speed and reliable internet, learning management system is there, then virtual labs or computer, etc. are whether equitable in that particular institution or not, that we are asking. The other one is related with the research resources. We are asking here whether the institution has subscription of e-resources, e-journals, e-Shod Sindhu, Shod Ganga, plagiarism check software, license statistical software, etc. So for research, if naturally, if the university is there or any sort of research-centric institution is there, it is possible that there should be enough of infrastructure for them, enough of research resources for them to proceed with the research work. Then Divyanjan friendly facility. This is the government. This is as per government regulation only. Whether they have ramps, lifts for easy access to classroom, Divyanjan friendly washroom, etc. Like this. This metric is there. Then innovation resources. Availability of innovation, tinkering labs. These are the new terminology. Then fabrication lab, technology business incubators. Whether there is there in the university or not. If it is not, then they should equip them for all this because it's the need of the hour. Innovation is related to many of the things. Innovation is related to the startups and all that. So it matters a lot for any sort of university. If we talk about input number 4, that is in case this is attribute for financial resource and management. This is also one of the input related attribute and it has a 6 metrics in it. This attribute signifies how institution manages its financial resources. See, finance do comes in many of the university, you will find they are financially very rich, many of the institutions they found. But how to utilize amicably for the welfare and well-being of their stakeholders, especially for the students, teachers, and for the future of the institution that matters. So here is the metrics are related with that. That is first is capital income, and it states that how much of amount the institution has received from government grants, loans, endowments, etc. Then second one is related to the revenue income, that is other income, that is amount received from fees, research and development grants, salary grants, or alumni contribution, or consultancy, or likewise. Then capital expenditure, major expenditure. See, income we have received now. How to proceed with the expenditure part? So expenditure may major thing is related with the capital. So capital may what is the thing? Capital means big expenditure. It is related to the building, academic infrastructure, hostels, residence, amenities, etc. Revenue expenditure, that means yearly expenditure or monthly expenditure like salaries, maintenance, administration, scholarship, electricity, transport, career guidance and skilling, etc. That is revenue related metrics, revenue expenditure related metrics. Then sustainable and growth. That is strategies for financial sustainability and growth, corpus created investment, plans for increasing capital and revenue income, decentralizing, budgeting, etc. Like this, the metrics are related to the sustainability and growth. Then the other one is financial controls, whether the institution does internal and external financial audit regularly or not. That is the routine process which every institution does. Here also we are asking the same, but in order to see that it goes in a nice way or in a regular way. Next comes, yeah. Next attribute is learning and teaching, and this we are included in process type of attribute. This is a process type of attribute, and it has 7 odd metrics here. The first is pedagogical approaches. Now, what sort of pedagogical approaches the institution adopts? Based, for example, lecture-based teaching learning, whether they have a group teaching learning or individual learning self-study method, whether they adopt the game-based learning or technology-based learning, etc. So what sort of pedagogical approaches they have in case of learning and teaching. Then the second one is internship, field projects, etc. Here we are asking in whatsoever system, see what happens, the system or the whatsoever the discipline the institution might be having, whatsoever the subject they might be having, it must be reflected or related with the field exposure. So here we are talking about that how many percentage of students are undertaking internship at field projects. Okay. So as per the stream, it differs, but it is essential that the practical knowledge of the related subject is essential for the students. So we have kept this metric. Then assessment. Now here evaluation system adopted by the institution like MCQ, portfolio management, case studies, or you can talk about project, assignment, etc. The assessment may differ. See, again, it depends upon the discipline also. If the commerce discipline assessment may differ, science, engineering, and all that. So, what sort of assessment criteria the institutions are moving ahead, that is asked in this metric. Then academic and grievance redressal concept. This is the 5.4, that is the fourth metric in this particular attribute. It talks about whether the institution has a grievance redressal system, including sharing of copies of answer script, retotaling, re-evaluation, faculty consultation, student performance, etc. Like this metric is related with, that you can see. Then the last three metrics for this attribute are, number one is related to, that is 5.5, is catering to diversity. Here we are asking, considering students' diversity, it is seen whether the institution has inclusive remedial teaching, because there might be the students from various backgrounds, various intellect, various knowledge, and accordingly whether the institution is moving ahead with their as per the diversification, the steps are being taken by the institution or not. So what are those? That is remedial teaching, peer assisted remedial teaching, multi-sensory remedial teaching, skill-based teaching, language barrier remedial, likewise. The sixth metric for this attribute is learning management system. Yes, that is learning management system, whether included this having or sharing, or includes the following: what the sharing teaching material, submission of assignment, mobile learning, e-discussion platform, assessment outcome, blended learning support, likewise. The seventh one, that is the last one for this particular attribute, that metric is industry academic linkages. Many of you might have heard from various guest lectures and all that, because this is related with the UGC concept also, UGC regulation and guidelines also, in addition to various other metrics which are included in UGC guidelines. This is also one of them. This is how the institution is good enough for industry academic linkage, what sort of steps they are doing it, whether they are going with the collaborative workshop with the industry and stakeholders, and likewise. Then it comes the sixth one, that is extended curricular engagement. This is also a process-based attribute, and here it includes 6 number of metrics. The purpose of this attribute is to sensitize students. The stakeholders, the participants understand it very nicely, because this is related with all the types of institutions. Purpose of this attribute is to sensitize students for social issues, holistic development, through extension activity in the neighborhood community. So how they are good enough for this extension, because it is the need, it is essential for the student to understand that how they can be helpful to the society through this extension activity, which we have framed in the form of the metrics here. So 6.1 is related to the technical domain, related club activity and technical festivals. How many number of such domain technical clubs are there, with the number of students who are participating in that, and club-wise activities done by them, involvement of industry body, etc. in such type of clubs. Like this, it is something unique which we are asking, but it matters a lot. Then hackathons and ideation workshops. Hackathon, so you might have heard many of the times, the ideation is something very good and interesting, because it's related with that only. So why it is so? It is related with the innovation activity. Number of hackathons and workshop participated by the students. You might have heard in the media and all that, if few students participate in, especially the technical background institution and all that. But here we are talking about ideation workshop. It is related with all the type of discipline, whether it is arts and humanities, commerce, science, or likewise. Then number of hackathons conducted by the institution with the number of external students participating in it. That is the thing which has been taken care of. Then the third one is cultural club activities and festivals. Here, number of cultural clubs with the number of student activity club-wise, or the number of institutions participated in the cultural festivals. That is related with the metric number 1. So here, how many number of students have participated in such activity, that is asked. Fourth one is mental health clubs and activities, that is yoga. That what are the things here being asked? It is number of activities or clubs involved in promoting mental health, yoga, counseling, meditation, etc. This is very, again, it is very essential, because it is so, it is being spoken that the present workforce, or the you can call it the future workforce, is related with VUCA, that is volatile, uncertain, ambiguity, and uncertain. So we have to see that the student's mental health should be good enough. So meditation factors matters a lot. Then comes sports clubs and team and activities. This is fifth matrix in this attribute. Here we are asking how many number of students are participating in the sports events organized by the other institution at the state and national level. And the last one for this is community related activities including UBA. Now what is there? Unnat Bharat Abhiyan is there. So why it is so? See, important part what I shared with you earlier in this related with this attribute, that is institution role towards social awareness. Of course, institution means students role also. Institution roles towards social awareness and its impact on communities through various measures. That is measured here. Through various measures like improved sex ratio, improved GER, that is gross enrollment ratio, then clean village, eco-friendly communities, improved literacy level, empowered women communities, etc. So there are several aspects in this particular metric that you can say almost 8 are there. Then comes our seventh number of attribute. This is also a process based, that is governance and administration. Yes, that matters. This attribute is to check whether the governance and leadership are in accordance with the vision and mission of the institution and as per NAP and the requirement of the students, and of course for the institutional growth, whether it is there or not. So how many? There are almost 8 metrics, quite a much metrics are there because it's essential for this type of attribute. Because if the governance and the management, the administration or the leadership of any of the institution is good, it prospers. So this matters. Now, what are the metrics? Number 1 is statutory compliance. Whether the statutory compliance is done by the university considering its acts, statutes, ordinances, regulations. Whether the same is displayed in the website, for example, annual reports, in addition to annual reports or academic regulation, calendar, circular, etc. Likewise, this metric is related with that. Then IDP, Institutional Development Plan. It is very important. It is highlighted in NEP, and many of you people know, many of you people might already be preparing in the process of preparing their IDP. So that this metric is related with that IDP only. Okay. Then e-governance. Friends, our country is aggressively moving towards DPI, that is digital public infrastructure. What is happening in our country, the economy is boom, is because of very good digital public infrastructure created by our government. So thus is e-governance is the need of our. This e-governance is implemented, it is being asked now in this metric. E-governance is implemented in the areas of administration, finance, accounts, student admissions and support, etc. Like this metric is related with that. Then comes governance and administration. Again, the same process with the rest of the metrics are 4, 5, and 6 in this particular slide, and it is related to the student, employee, and welfare. So what are we talking about? That institution has a welfare measure, whether the institution has a welfare measure for its teaching and non-teaching staff, such as, because few of the institution doesn't have, so we found that and we felt to keep this metric here that will help the stakeholders of the institution to be benefited. So what are the measures? For example, subsidized interest-free loans, health and life insurance schemes supported by the institution, and support through in-campus infrastructure facilities like staff, quarters, hospitals, etc. So few institutions definitely might be having. For those who are not having, because of this, the management of the institution or the governance and the leadership of the institution, we see that it comes into the picture for them. So it will benefit you people a lot. Then comes 7.5, that is grievance handling mechanism. It talks about how the institution resolve the grievances. Yes, grievances are there. So what are the steps how the institution resolve the grievance, including sexual harassment, ragging cases, specifically with the students and all that. That is related with this. So next is quality assurance system. Yes, this quality, already our director has very nicely explained why we are moving ahead with this concept. The quality matters a lot. It is a continuous process, friends. It is not a one-time process, oh, one grade or one level or one binary accreditation, we process not like that. It's a continuous process. So what we have introduced that AQR also. So what are we talking about here? Quality assurance initiative taken by the institution, for example, seminars, workshops, inter-university collaboration, academy, administrative audit, etc. So several steps. There are many, but we have almost covered 6. Max to max, we have seen that many of the things can be incorporated in this particular metric related with the quality assurance. Then comes this last two metrics for this governance and administration is effective leadership. Yes, leader matters a lot. I am again and again speaking for this, all this 3 slides of this governance and administration, because leader matters a lot. So we are asking whether the institution has adequate representation of stakeholders in decision making. That is essential, because we have to take all the people into confidence when we are moving ahead with the decision making. Then delegation of powers is there, whether it is essential or not. Because if it is centralized, then there is an issue. So there should be always a decentralized. The things work very amicably, nicely. Everybody understands this responsibility and accountability is there. Then establishing effective communication. Then feedback system is there or not from every nook and corner of that administration. So leader matters a lot for the institution. So what this metric is there. Then inter-university collaboration. Here we are talking about whether the institution give national, international exposure to its faculties, because somewhere it might not be and somewhere it might be. So where there it might not be, we have pushed intentionally this metric. So the management, the leadership of the institution will be forced to put their provide the exposure to the teachers and the students for a national or international exposure. Then networking and sharing resources, consortium, mentoring institutions, collaborative research activity, whether the institution does or not, is related with this particular metric. Then comes outcomes. Yes, this is the basically a very, it is talked everywhere nowadays. It is good enough because outcome matters. In NAP document, the word outcome is stated almost 38 times. So it has to be unique value, and we have kept that unique value here. Specifically when we talk about students' outcome. Okay. So first, what is there? Here total, there are 8 metrics for this. So first one is placement in employment. So how many number of outgoing students being placed, that we are talking about here. Then in academic progression, similarly, how many number of students who have progress for higher education, graduate students going for higher education research. That is the second metric. Third, self-employment and entrepreneurship. So this was missing earlier. People used to talk about if the boy or girl goes for his or her own business or join a startup or likewise, then where we are counting. So we have kept that. It's the feedback from you good people that has worked, and we have kept this metric in the form of that how percentage of graduate students becoming entrepreneurs, self-employed during the last 3 years, that we have kept. It is all because we have good feedback. Then competitive exam, how much percentage of the graduate students qualifying in net slate exams, competitive exams, as you can see. Likewise, fifth is award or prize recognition in curricular and extended curricular areas. So how many number of external academic awards and recognition the institution has received where the students have participated in extracurricular, co-curricular activities, likewise, which is being conducted by the institution also. That is related with this metric. Then enrollment ratio. Percentage of students admitted in first year in the program against the sanctioned students intake. Means a bit demand ratio. Means it depends upon what sort of demand is there for this. If you have a goodwill of the institution, automatically the enrollment ratio will be very good. So it depends upon everything. It depends upon all this 10 attributes for future coming 10 attributes of binary accreditation. Your enrollment ratio will also increase a lot. Then comes 7th one for this attribute, that is student outcome. Seventh metric is graduation rate. The percentage of students completed the program in stipulated time against the enrollment. And the last one is survey. Student alumni learning survey. This we have introduced. It happens many of the times. We were being told by the institution that what about the alumni who pass out that institution? They should also be given an opportunity to give a feedback. So we have given this an opportunity, and we will come out with a survey for alumni also in addition to the students. Next is the research and innovation. This attribute is one of the main agenda. Yes, my dear friends, my dear intellectuals, academicians, this attribute is one of the main agenda where the institution, not all, but few may lack. So we have come out with this particular attribute, and which talks about research and innovation outcome. It has 8 metrics. there is one line I remember, that innovation is the conversion of human desirability, technical feasibility, and business viability. So all of those things are, all those contents are covered in these 8 metrics. And what are those? Number 1 is external research grants. Here we are asking how many number and amount of externally funded research project per faculty through government, non-government sources such as industry, corporate houses, international bodies for research projects are there during last 3 years the institution has received. Then publications. A publication में है कि भाई how many number of peer-reviewed journals per faculty. Yes, research reviewed journal research publication per faculty we are talking about. Okay, so now the faculty members, the academicians should be motivated to go for maximum number of publication, specifically which are listed in Scopus and UGC care list and Web of Science and likewise that you can see. Then third metric is related to research quality, that we talk about institutional average H index and citation index. Here we are checking about the quality of that research which is being published through where, so whether it is in H index or citation index from Scopus and Web of Science likewise. Then PhDs awarded. How many number of PhDs are awarded by the institution per full-time teacher during the last 3 years? Okay. So that you can understand very easily. Research fellowship, number of research fellow, JRF, SRF received by the institution during last 3 years. Then IPR, that is intellectual property right, including patent, copyright, trademark granted in the last 3 years. Again, it is essential because somewhere as compared to the developed country, we are lagging, but we will be very soon be in a position that we will compete with them, all because of you good people, good researchers. Then research collaboration. 7th number of metric is research collaboration, where we are asking whether there is a national international institution collaboration, whether institution is going ahead with the national international collaboration, or interdisciplinary research is happening or not. Then inter-university, national, international faculty, whether the institution is focused or not. Means some sort of collaboration is essential by the institution to initiate. So what we have introduced this metric. The number of student startup. Yes, startup. Almost we have, I think so, we are the 3rd largest startups in the world. India is ranking now 3rd. एक समय था we were standing nowhere, but in 2016 when it was introduced, there were around 456 startups. Now we have more than 1 lakh plus startup with us, and almost out of that 1 lakh plus we have 120 unicorns with us. That is where the turnover of $1 billion turnover is there. So we are now in the 3rd position in the world after China and US, and very soon we'll beat them. That is our motto, and with the help of all you stakeholders, it is possible. Last one, this attribute is related with the sustainability, that is green initiative, and this is also outcome related attribute. For friends, this attribute is one of the main agenda of our Prime Minister also, and Minister and government also, that is green initiative. Okay, so green initiative, what are the steps can be taken? So here we have provided or given 5 metrics for the institution, and what are those? Pehla, community activities. The number of camps conducted by NSS, NCT and other organized for community activities. What sort of activities they are doing it? It includes many of the things. Then comes waste and water management. Means measures taken by the institution for what? Rainwater harvesting, water recycling plant is there or wastewater recycling plant is there or not. Then maintenance of natural water bodies inside or outside campus, segregation of solid waste at source, bio-waste management, e-waste management. Likewise, this several contents are included in this particular metric. Then progressing towards net zero. I said, very essential green initiative. The alternate source of energy and energy conservation measure. What sort of steps the institution is taking? And friends, initiative is not enough. We should see that it continuously works, and even though if it works, even though if we are taking initiative, we should see that it reaches to the students, because students are the stakeholders in the society. One is once it reaches to the student, automatically society will also try to implement, because from each and every household, some or the other student is studying in your institution. So what are they? Solar energy, wind energy, biogas plant, sensor-based energy conservation, use of LED bulbs, etc. are included in this metrics. And then last two metrics are there related with this, that is green audits and initiatives. Whether institution regularly conducts energy audit, carbon sequestration, measuring air pollution, water budgeting, maintaining clean and green campus, and likewise. Means green audits are being done or the initiatives taken for green audit by the institution, that is asked here in this metric. And the last one is collaboration with the industry and NGOs. Whether the institution is going with such collaboration, and there those are illustrated, means where it is there. It is illustrated in activities like NCC, then NSS activities, and collaboration with the industries as a part of CSR activities. So there can be a number corporate social responsibility in that many of the industries, many of the corporate bodies are ready to have a collaboration, do some social service. So institution can be the part and parcel of it. Even the projects can be taken for the same. So in this way, in nutshell, all these 10 attributes are very nicely prepared for the university manual. And at the end, I will tell you very important line of one Sanskrit, the word I remember, that is Loka Hitam Mama Karaniyam. Loka Hitam Mama Karaniyam. That is, we must pledge to do good things to the society. That is an intention behind all these attributes, friends. So many thanks. Thanks to director for giving me an opportunity. Now the house is open for question answer session. Over to you, director sir, please. Okay.
Devenderji, I will take over the session. I think I'm not seeing. I think director sir is there already. Sir, shall I continue?
Yeah. Please go ahead. We will take the questions on the presentation by Dr. Kaude on the university.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So shall I I will. I have been asked to conduct this session on question and answer, and since this is the third session that we are having since yesterday, we have already completed interaction with the northern region academic fraternity and also southern region. So we know that some of the questions will be there which are like in everybody's mind. So with kind consent of the director, I am going to just in couple of minutes, I will elaborate few questions which will be on your mind. First is there will be a question on eligibility. Who will be eligible for the binary accreditation? So all higher education institutions where 2 batches are passed out. We are not putting a restriction on number of years like 3 years, 5 years, 6 or something like that. So 2 batches will be the eligibility, and 3 years data, preceding 3 years data will be taken into consideration for this binary accreditation. Current understanding, why we have not put these things into presentation, I understand is we are still getting a feedback on that, and with approval of the authorities, we will be finalizing those things. But current understanding is that the validity of the binary accreditation, when you have it, it will be for 3 years period, and it is believed that you can have just 2 cycles of binary accreditation, and then you can go to the maturity based graded level accreditation. So that will be there. So even after first 1 cycle of validity of your binary accreditation, you can move into that. Another important question that will be on minds of many colleagues, academicians who have joined this, if they are in the process of assessment and accreditation right now, many of you might have already submitted your IIQA to NAAC, and either that has been accepted or in the process of clarifications. So for them, the clarification is that you have option now. If you have already submitted IIQA, you have option of continuing with the current process. So obviously you will go through the SSR submission and then DVV process and peer team visit. This will be there for you. And this facility is available only till May end. So those institutions who are submitting their IIQA before 30th May, and I think maybe director will add later that any moment there may be a notification coming that for certain date we will not accept IIQA under the old scheme. but the current understanding is by end of the May, we will be launching the new binary accreditation framework. Till then, you will have choice of continuing with the old accreditation, and if you are due now, but you have option of waiting for the binary accreditation also. So if you have submitted IAQA, approved it, not submitted SSR, and you think that yes, binary is better for me, wait and opt for the binary accreditation framework. So that option is also available. Another very peculiar question is coming again and again from the colleges and the universities is that what do we do with the AQARs? You have been submitting AQARs annually and many of you are in process of submitting AQARs. So what happens to the AQAR in the new format? So clarification is that until you actually apply for binary accreditation and get yourself accredited on the binary accreditation framework, you are supposed to continue to submit your annual quality assurance report in the current format regularly as per the cycle that we have given to you. So there is no change in that. AQR format will not change. Another important question, I think our director, Professor Kannabiran sir, has nicely outlined the whole scheme, and Dr. Kavdeji explained you what are the details for the university manual. It has been explained in brief, but I'll just take one more minute to elaborate that the one manual for university is not really concrete one, but there is a core. What Dr. Kavdeji presented you is the common metrics. There will be a set of common metrics for different types of the universities. NAAC has identified various discipline-specific universities like law universities, health science universities, technology universities, multidisciplinary universities, and even specialized institutions. For all those categories, there is a provision of about 15% metrics, which currently NAAC is parallelly working in consultation with 60 academicians drawn from these different disciplines. They are currently working and they will be finalizing this set of 10 to 15 metrics, which the universities of that typical type, specialized type, they will be able to choose those 10 to 15 metrics in lieu of some of the metrics that were presented by my colleague today. So this flexible approach will be there. And on top of that, as director explained to you, there are going to be few metrics relating to situatedness or uniqueness. If you think that you are there for a certain cause, for tribal society, you are catering to a very underprivileged section of the society, or you fall in the aspirational districts that are identified, or you are striving for a special mission, something. So that uniqueness will be captured in a few metrics. Those metrics were also not presented today, but they are in the pipeline of the development. So these are the few things that I, with the permission of director, shared with you, so that those questions you did not ask, but can focus on the other queries or feedback that you have about this overall scheme. And one more request is that there will be another presentation by our colleague Dr. Manjunath Rao, who will be presenting about the college manual. So at current this session now that I will be handling with the help of our director sir, and also Dr. Kavdeji also can chip in, that is for the university representatives only. The college representatives can ask their question once the next presentation on college manual is done. So with this, we welcome the questions. You can either put your questions in the chat and then can raise the hands. Our ICT